Accountability feels like one of those four-letter words in sales, and I don't exactly know why, because here's the thing. I think people like being held accountable, but the problem is that most people don't like being micromanaged and they confuse those two terms. Now, look, I think the biggest difference between micromanagement and holding people accountable is how many people are involved in that accountability. Look, micromanagement is when your manager tells you, hey, I told you to do something, I want it done, and I'm going to check on you relentlessly until I see that it's done. On the other hand, accountability is where two people agree that something is important and they check in on each other to make sure that each is doing what is necessary in order to accomplish that mutually beneficial outcome. There's teamwork involved rather than someone just staring at you with an angry look on their face and really not doing anything to help the situation. So when you kind of parse out those two terms, you recognize that there's a significant difference between them. You can start to approach accountability a lot differently. And that means not only are things going to get done that weren't being done before, but you're going to foster a very much of a team atmosphere that's going to make people more likely and more willing and more engaged to do more things. This is a snowball that rolls downhill that you want to start rolling downhill. So one of the things that I've thought of for these accountability meetings is a series of questions. It's a very simple framework that I'm rolling out with some clients right now. And I'm already starting to see results, as are they. 7 simple questions to running better accountability meetings and getting more things done. Are you ready? Number 1, what did you do since last time? Look, these accountability meetings need to happen fairly often because we need to make sure that projects and tasks aren't getting lost. So what have you done since last time? What is our current state right now? Number 2, what went well? Start with a win as soon as possible. Let's get the mojo going in the meeting. Let's get those positive juices, that positive energy moving forward so that we can get the meeting started on the right foot and we can carry some of that momentum through the rest of it. Because the next question I'm going to ask is, what didn't go so well? This is an opportunity for people to reflect on some of the obstacles that got in their way. This is going to identify some things that we need to work through, that we're going to need to come up with some solutions for so that they get out of our way right now and so that they stay out of our way in the future. And I believe that every obstacle creates an opportunity, but that's another piece for another time. The next question I ask is, okay, what are your next steps? What do you need to do with these projects next? Okay, and then the question number 5 is, when will those be accomplished? Hopefully by our next meeting. But if they're not going to be accomplished by the next meeting, I still want a deadline. I still want there to be some line in the sand drawn for when that's going to be done because deadlines are important for productivity. Now, here's one of the most important questions, and it's important not to get too far into this one because these accountability meetings need to be brief, they need to be energizing, they can't get drug out into these long coaching meetings. Those are other meetings for other times. You can't get too divested in what we need to get done here and get into sidebar conversations about what you'd like to see happen. But question number 6 is, do you have what you need? This is a quick needs analysis, right? Just on the survey, do you need better messaging? Do you need some kind of tool, some kind of sales tool? Do you need some piece from marketing? Do you need something to justify your case? Do you need to role play a little bit with somebody? On the surface, keep this brief. What do you need in order to get those things done? What do you need in order to overcome these objections or these obstacles that you've seen over the last couple of weeks since we last met? Now, here's the most important part, and this goes back to what I started this video with, which is the biggest difference between micromanagement and accountability. Question number 7 is, how can I help? What do you need? Beyond the tools that you may need, how can I help? How can I get involved? Now, if you're just a teammate, if you're a teammate working with someone on your team, then maybe there is some additional work that you can pick up. Maybe someone just needs a hand. If you're a manager and you're talking to someone on your team, maybe they need you to run interference up through the C-suite so that you can get something fast-tracked or you can get some executive support for this meeting. How many times have you in the field or you as a manager gone into an appointment and gotten a meeting that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten because there was a business card with a fancy title on it? Look, those things work. And sometimes you just need to call in the big guns. Am I right? So think about the different ways that you can help as the manager. Think about different ways your manager may be able to help you. And when you run through this brief framework here, great things happen. And when you use this framework consistently, now you can use shared documents before these meetings so that everybody can do their prep work, and these meetings themselves for the entire team can be less than 30 minutes. Now, if I told you that in less than 30 minutes, maybe twice a month, you could get 20, 30, 40% more done because everybody was on the same page, everybody thought about what needed to happen next, everybody thought about what could potentially get in the way, you mean to tell me that you wouldn't take that? You mean to tell me that's not a meeting worth having? That's not a meeting that's going to fire up your team? Come on. So look, the simple framework, it's already working. You can modify it to meet your own needs, but these 7 questions: what'd you get done since last time? What went well? What didn't go so well? What needs to happen next? When will that happen next? Do you have everything that you need? And how can I help? Really simple. You can do this. I want you to start, and I want you to tell me how it goes.